Back to Fox News reporting. So far, you've met the young Charles Krauthammer, Harvard Medicine, class of '75. His life seemed to be going according to plan. But then no life ever really does. The snapshot was taken in May 1972. It shows a strapping 6'1" Charles Krauthammer standing on the beach. It's the confident smile of a young man well on his way to making it. Smart, athletic, handsome, driven. The future, all his.
That was spring break in my first year of medical school. I went with a bunch of friends to Bermuda. That actually is the last picture of me taken standing. Of course, I didn't know at the time. And I was coming out of the water carrying my sandals. I saw one of my friends with a camera. And then when I got to the top of the dune, I just stood there for a picture. Thought nothing of it until I discovered it years later lying around in a box. And remembering it, of course, it was a fateful picture.
Fateful because of what would happen back at Harvard that summer. You were 22 years old. Tell me about that day.
I went out, it was the end of my first year of medical school. We're doing neurology. We're studying the spinal cord, of all things. My classmate and I decided to skip the morning session. Beautiful July day. We play tennis instead.
After their game, they head back to class for the afternoon session. But along the way, they stop at a pool on campus, set down their books, and pull off their sneakers.
We're very sweaty. It's very hot. So we go for a swim. We take a few dives, and I hit my head on the bottom of the pool.
A freak accident, says Krauthammer.
The amazing thing is there was not even a cut on my head. It just hit at precisely the angle where all the force was transmitted to one spot, and that is the cervical vertebra, which severed the spinal cord.
When did you realize that the accident was life-altering?
The second it happened.
You knew?
I knew exactly what happened. I knew why I wasn't able to move, and I knew what that meant.
At the bottom of the pool,
I wasn't getting out. I knew, yeah.
He was paralyzed, unable to move his arms or legs. His friend thought he was clowning around and hesitated before diving down to save him. Was there ever a moment that you thought this is the end?
Well, when I knew what happened and I knew I was at the bottom of the pool and I knew I wouldn't be able to swim, I was sure that was the end.
Do you think back to that day often?
Not really. It doesn't. I kind of have a distance from it. I see it like as if it happened in a film. And interestingly enough, for people who talk about the near-death experiences, there was no panic. There was no great emotion. I didn't see a light. My life did not flash before me. You sort of get to a place where you're ready, and then you're suddenly brought back to the world.
So no cosmic revelation as he was rushed to the hospital, though Krauthammer notes the irony of what he left behind.
There were two books on the side of the pool when they picked up my effects. One was The Anatomy of the Spinal Cord, and the other one's Man's Fate by Andre Malraux. Quite a choice. I didn't know what was coming, but it fit very well.